35 and change, so it's still holding that $35 mark. It was very interesting when it dropped below $35, still higher than the $33 IPO price, but traders don't like to see it break where it opened. But you can see now it's back above $35 at $35.23. There's still a big crowd down here on Wall Street. You can even see some of the photographers behind me, still a big crowd around the post as well. And also, I have to tell you, the composite shares passed 100 million in the first 20 minutes of trading. Now that is some heavy volume here on Wall Street.
It is absolutely some heavy volume. Thanks a lot. Well, let's talk to someone who's actually happy about the GM IPO. Former Clinton advisor Bernard Whitman joins the company. Bernard, as I was introducing you, Chris stood up.
Well, I'm happy about it, too. I mean, I don't necessarily like Bernard, but I'm happy about it.
Well, Bernard, why are you happy about it?
If you're an American taxpayer, why would you not be happy about it? This actually is going to give the Treasury back a lot of cash, and we're going to be able to see the Treasury and the American taxpayers be able to not make back all the money that was sunk into GM.
So you answered your own question.
Money, but a substantial amount.
You're telling me you took $100 from me and you give me back 80 and I should be happy about it?
I'd rather have 80 than 20.
I'd rather have 100.
Bernard, this is
water under the bridge.
This is smoke and mirrors. This is smoke and mirrors, and you're falling for it. You know what this is? This is like putting a really old, ugly man in a hot car, because when the top comes down off that really hot car and you see the bowls on the man's face, you see the truth. Oh, on the 20.
You would have preferred GM to go out of business, the entire parts supply go out of business, the American auto industry, the American auto industry would have failed.
Oh, come on.
This is funny government math. Like Charles says, funny government math. I give you $100 and you give me some fraction on the dollar. It doesn't make any sense that we should be happy about this, that we're not making a profit on this yet. We should be celebrating when the stock price is above 53 and we all turn around and say, actually, this math finally makes sense.
But no investor would money is coming back into the Treasury.
No investor would do
right.
this
would you
deal
rather
on
have
their own.
$0 or would you rather have $80?
It can't get to 53 before it gets to 33 first. It has to sell at 33 before it sells at 53.
It's not even close.
Here's
100 million shares in what, 35 minutes?
Here's another thing, Bernard. Let's say it does get to 53. The taxpayers watching this had no chance to get the IPO stock. 17% of his IPO went to foreign investors. So at 53, those foreign investors are going to be up 60%, and you're telling me I broke even on something I didn't want to happen in the first place, and again, I should be happy.
You should be happy because a substantial amount of money is going to get paid back, and I think eventually the vast majority of the money is going to get paid back. Is that something that we all should celebrate? Partially, yes, because it's better than not getting a return at all.
Would you advise Democrats to use this as a platform for re-election?
Oh, would I advise the Democrats to create an economic catastrophe that occurred under the Bush administration?
We bailed out General Motors, we gave them your money against your wishes, and we may break even on it. Should they campaign?
I think the election already happened.
There's going to be a lot more elections.
I think the election already happened.
Yeah, but this is something they should be proud of.
Let's talk about what's going to happen over the next 2 years. Let's talk about the gridlock that's going to occur, because it's clear that this Republican Congress has absolutely no interest or intention of cooperating with the president or the Democrats on any single issue whatsoever.
Well, both sides can talk about that. There's absolutely no doubt at this point that the president has to be the guy who makes the compromise happen. Now, one of the big news items this week is internal turmoil within the Democratic Party, that there's no leadership from the president within the Dems. The Dems, listen, Harry Reid wants no, don't ask, don't tell. Somebody else wants the DREAM Act. There's no unity within the Democratic Party.
I do fault the president for a lack of leadership on figuring out what the approach should be on extending these Bush tax cuts. The problem we have here is the same problem the president had with respect to health care. He punted the health care legislation to Congress, ultimately wasted months and months and months, and got a much weaker bill than anyone would have liked. If he had come out strong, laid down his plan, I think we could have gotten something through much earlier. Same is true on the tax cut issue. He should have been very clear. He should have said, look, what I'm for is extending tax cuts to 97% of the American people. What I'm against is borrowing $700 billion from China, adding to the deficit, and giving tax cuts to people who are not going to go out and spend and stimulate this economy.
By the way, so what's going to happen, Bernard? What do you think is going to happen? Because the clock is ticking very, very quickly.
Right. In my crystal ball, I think there will be a compromise. I think the compromise is going to be a permanent extension on the tax cuts for those earning less than $250. I'd like to see a one-year extension on those making over $250. My guess is 1 year is not going to be sufficient. 2 years will be sufficient. And I do credit the Republicans because they basically took a compromise position and moved the ball forward to basically say we're not going to do anything but.
And then what happens with the Nancy Pelosi, she's being reelected as minority leader. This will upset her niche. What happens then? Does she play ball with the president down the road, or does she make his life even tougher?
Look, I think the only way to move forward is through compromise. Nancy Pelosi certainly would have not been my choice to head the Democratic Party again. She actually did deliver 2006 to 2010. She got every bit of legislation done that she needed to get done, but that time has passed. We should have put the past in the past and put a new face.
Who would be your choice, by the way?
You know, I don't want to speculate on who I mean. I will say Steny Hoyer. Would have loved to see Steny Hoyer in the top spot. And Nancy Pelosi take a back seat. She was in there for 4 years. I think enough time.
Bernie, I'm watching General Motors shares because it's right next to your face on the screen there. Pretty much stabilizing at around $35 plus. Does this mean that bailouts work?
I would never suggest bailouts as an economic or political strategy, but when faced with the absolute bottoming out of one of our major economic industries in America, with the loss of hundreds of thousands of jobs, unemployment skyrocketing well into about 12%. Yes, I think that was a necessary.
Here is what I worry, is that President Obama and Congress is going to say the same thing when they look at California and they say, look at GM, we bailed them out, it's going to work, let's do the same thing for California.
The state is quite different.
And by the way, Bernard, we do have you now on tape giving the Republicans some credit, and we will use that against you.
I'm all about compromise.
All right, thanks a lot, appreciate it.